The Eagles are coming off of a historic year. They finished the season 14-3, led by MVP frontrunner up until his injury, Jalen Hurts and co. on the offensive side of the ball, and a stellar pass rush on defense. When Hurts played, they were 14-1, but a shoulder injury did knock him out for 2 games, and they were clearly the best team in football. They made the Super Bowl and put up an amazing fight against Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs, but a Harrison Butker field goal with 11 seconds left ended their season, and they were the runner-ups. While this season was amazing for their team, their future may be in question. But before I do get in this video, make sure you guys like and subscribe to the channel, so all support is very much appreciated, helps me out more than you know. Now, let's get into why I have questions about the Eagles' future. Philadelphia has stars on both sides of the ball. They got people like Hassan Reddick, Darius Slay, AJ Brown, Lane Johnson, Jason Kelce, and that's just to name a few. Their trenches on both sides of the football were elite, as they had the most sacks in the league, and they had by far the best offensive line. That star power and great coaching are what got them to the Super Bowl in the first place. They had a great scheme, running the ball with Jalen Hurts, who had 13 touchdowns, as well as running back Miles Sanders, who rushed for over 1,000 yards for the first time in his career. And this was all while Jalen Hurts was able to dot teams up by throwing downfield to AJ Brown, who had the best PFF grade on deep passes, and Devonta Smith, who is an elite wide receiver too. Sirianni and Steichen's offensive scheme was impossible to stop, especially with that QB sneak push play that I hated watching in the Super Bowl because they ran it like 9 times. It's just so overpowered. But anyways, that play helped lead them to having the most rushing touchdowns, 32 in the league. You just give it to Jalen Hurts on the 1 and you have everyone behind him push him. The defense was also incredible, as they led the league in sacks with 70, as I said, and that was by over 15 from second place. Yeah, 15. Honestly, this team was just incredible to watch with all the stars and amazing coaching, and nobody but Mahomes could beat this team healthy. Almost nobody. But there's a small problem. They have a ton of free agents. I mean a ton. 18. While only having around $9.7 million in cap space. On the defensive side of the ball, they have Fletcher Cox, Brandon Graham, Robert Quinn, Javon Hargrave, Kaiser White, studs CJ Gardner-Johnson, and second-team All-Pro James Bradberry, as well as some more veterans. On offense, they have Jason Kelce, Miles Sanders, Isaac Seumalo, and Boston Scott, all impact players. In total, like I said, they have 18 free agents. Those are just the guys with the highest impact on the team. It's going to be hard to decide who to re-sign and who to let walk. Yes, some may retire, like Fletcher Cox, Ndamukong Suh, etc., but a lot of their important pieces are going to be gone most likely. And before any cap moves are made, they do not have a lot of money to really spend, as I mentioned. If I were to project who walks and stays, they're going to have to let all of the older guys walk, try to re-sign Hargrave and CJ Gardner-Johnson on defense after you make some cap moves, and do whatever you can to bring back Jason Kelce. He most likely won't ask for a lot of money just due to his age and, his tenure with the team. James Bradberry is going to walk, because after reviving his career in Philly, he'll demand some money. And for Miles Sanders and Boston Scott, running back is replaceable, so you let the two go. Kaiser White and Seumalo are important pieces, but bringing them back will be hard after some decent seasons for the two. They might ask for a little bit of money, but I don't think it will be worth it. It's kind of replaceable. I would say that the team is not in complete cap hell, like the New Orleans Saints, but they are not in a great spot to re-sign a lot of these guys to multi-year extensions, or hell, even one-year extensions. One big reason they cannot spend a ton of money this free agency, though, is because of next offseason. Before deals are made this offseason, their current free agents next year contain Jalen Hurts and Darius Slay. Yeah, after they re-sign Jalen Hurts to a massive extension, most likely, they're going to be in a tough spot with money for a while. Trying to keep this team together will prove to be an issue for Philadelphia in the next couple of off seasons. Cap space and free agency aren't their only problem, though. Coaching is another. While obviously they still have head coach Nick Sirianni, offensive coordinator Shane Steichen and defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon left the franchise for head coaching gigs with the Colts and Cardinals. Their offense and defense were both top 5 in the league. Losing both their coordinators in the same offseason is gonna hurt. Shane Steichen called the plays, and head coach Nick Sirianni said that whoever the new offense coordinator is will also call the plays. So Philly will have to deal with some minor changes to the system and play calling. However, the offense most likely will be fine, as the scheme was created by the entire offensive staff, not just Sirianni and Steichen, but losing the guy who called those plays does hurt a little because he knew what to do in almost every situation. Gannon, while he was not able to defend pre-snap motion, was a good defensive coordinator. He helped lead this team to the number 2 defense while having the 3rd most sacks of all time in a single season. He's a very smart guy with a unique defensive scheme. Zone coverage, rarely any press, while also rarely blitzing. No matter who is hired as defensive coordinator, the scheme will be different, and that will affect all of the defensive players, especially the young guys they have, and the players they will take in the first round, assuming they go defense, which I will get to in a second. Teaching defensive techniques and philosophies were Gannon's biggest strength, which will prove to be a big loss to all the Eagles' defensive players. While I do have some stars on that side of the ball, and I mean some stars, coaching is a big part of it. While the cap space, free agency situation, and losing both coordinators hurts a lot and will prove to be a detriment to the team at least a little bit, there is one positive. The Eagles have 4 picks inside the top 100 at 10, 30, 62, and 94, then they don't pick again until 221 and 250. Most mock drafts have them going defensive back and edge or defensive tackle in the first, depending on who is available at each pick, with some also having the Eagles select Texas running back Bijan Robinson. While Bijan is a very talented player, I disagree with that move. Most mocks have him being taken at 10th overall, and running back is the most replaceable position in football, and grabbing a guy who has had nearly 600 touches in 3 years at Texas may not be the best move. Robinson is one of the best talents in the class. We have seen many running backs taken early have injury-riddled careers as of late due to the number of touches they have had throughout their lives as an injury-prone position as a whole. Even if the player is very talented, that stuff can happen. I love him as a prospect, but taking him at 10 is a very risky move. Then go running backs in rounds 2 or 3 with pick 62 or 94, so that players on a cheaper contract, they can fill more valuable positions like cornerback, safety, defensive tackle, and or edge in the first round. At their picks, I like cornerback Joey Porter and Christian Gonzalez, defensive tackle Brian Brees, and defensive lineman Myles Murphy. Those are the guys I think that they should pick with the 10th overall, depending on who's available, and whoever Howie Roseman thinks would be the best fit. There's some other guys, like defensive back Devin Witherspoon, they can take there, but I like Joey Porter and Christian Gonzalez more personally. And as for pick 30, they can go corner here if any of the later first round prospects are there that they like, and if they go defensive lineman at pick 10, they can also go with safety Ronnie Hickman or edge BJ Ojulari. All these guys can fill the holes, if they pan out of course, of the guys that are free agents like CJ Gardner-Johnson, James Bradbury, Brandon Graham, Hargrave, and all the veteran defensive linemen. Rounds 2 or 3, they can grab a defensive tackle to play with Jordan Davis to bolster the run defense, or maybe a running back to replace Miles Sanders and Boston Scott if the two prove to be too expensive to bring back. A good draft can save the Eagles if they lose a lot of people to free agency. Keep in mind, if Kelsey retires or leaves, they have Cam Jurgens, who they selected last year as their backup center, and Jason Kelsey said he's the guy in the draft that reminds him most of himself, and Kelsey is one of the best centers of all time. They also selected Nakobe Dean at linebacker out of Georgia. He was a first-round prospect, but he was kind of injury-prone, but he's looking to come back healthy next year. And as I mentioned earlier, Jordan Davis at defensive tackle, who is one of the better run defenders in the league as a rookie, but he missed a couple games here and there. If this draft can go well, replacing the positions that they lose in free agency, I can see the Eagles basically being fine for a couple of years until the Jalen Hurts contract really kicks in. Philadelphia may be in for a rough couple years. This offseason, there's some moves they can do to free up some cap space, but I don't think it'll be enough to be able to retain all of their top guys. No matter what, they will still be a contender in the NFC with Jalen Hurts at the helm, Nick Sirianni coaching, and that's on top of all of their offensive weapons, but their defense and offensive line will certainly take a hit. The coordinator position for both sides of the ball will be tricky because it always takes a year for everyone to get comfortable in a new system with a new play caller. But as for the offense, Sirianni and the staff will be fine since it was a group effort to come up with this system. It's the defensive coordinator position I'm worried about, considering how well Gannon coaches guys, no matter some tiny judgments about his scheme at times. The team was fun to watch all year, so let's see if Howie Roseman and Nick Sirianni can figure out how to produce the same result with a definitely different group, out on the field and on the sidelines. And with all that being said, that is for me, guys. Thank you for tuning into Fanatic Sports. If you made it this far in the video, come on, just give it a like and subscribe to the channel. All support is very much appreciated, helps the channel out more than you can see. Also, follow me on Instagram at FanaticSports25 and on Twitter and TikTok at Fanatic Sports. This is Joe of Fanatic Sports, almost dropping it, signing off.